Good afternoon. This is All India Radio. I am Valsa Williams and with me is Anita Anand with the Midday News. The headlines. Government's focus is on making small cities the axis of self-reliant India, says Prime Minister Narendra Modi, launches construction work of Agra Metro project. Special cell of Delhi police arrests 5 suspected terrorists from the city's Shakarpur area after an encounter. COVID-19 recovery rate improves to 94.45%. Polling for 4th phase of DDC elections in Jammu and Kashmir passes off peacefully. In Assam, voting is on for the first phase of Bodoland Territorial Council. And Armed Forces Flag Day is being celebrated across the country. As the nation fights the COVID-19 pandemic, we begin with a message of precaution to stay safe and protected by following these 3 simple steps. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, focus on hand and face hygiene. And now the news in detail. Prime Minister Narendra Modi today said the government's focus is on making small cities the axis of self-reliant India, and the metro project in Agra reflects this intention. The Prime Minister virtually launched the construction work of Agra Metro today. Union Minister of Housing and Urban Affairs Hardeep Singh Puri and Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh Yogi Adityanath, along with other dignitaries, were also present. On the occasion, the Prime Minister said that everyone is waiting for the corona vaccine and it is not going to take too long, but we have to strictly adhere to the social distancing guidelines till it arrives. The Prime Minister underlined the economic importance of metro services and said the metro will also help the tourism sector of this ancient city, and the government's focus now is to make the country vocal for local tourism. He further added that the country has jumped from the 65th to the 34th place in Travel and Tourism Competitive Index.
भारत अब ट्रैवल और टूरिज्म कॉम्पिटिटिवनेस इंडेक्स में 34वें नंबर पर आ गया है, जबकि 2013 में भारत इसी इंडेक्स में 65वें नंबर पर रुका पड़ा था. आज वहां से इतनी प्रगति हुई. मुझे उम्मीद है जैसे जैसे कोरोना की स्थिति सुधरती जा रही है, वैसे ही बहुत जल्द ही टूरिज्म सेक्टर की रौनक भी फिर से लौट आएगी.
Mr. Modi said till 2014 only 225-kilometer metro line was in operation in India, and within the last 6 years the metro is now running on more than 400-kilometer line in the country. In UP alone, work on 7 metro lines is underway.
बीते 6 सालों में यूपी के साथ ही पूरे देश में जिस स्पीड और स्केल पर मेट्रो नेटवर्क पर काम हुआ, वही सरकार की पहचान और प्रतिबद्धता दोनों को दर्शाता है. 2014 तक देश में लगभग 250 किलोमीटर मेट्रो लाइन ऑपरेशनल हुई थी. साल 2014 के बाद के 6 वर्षों में 450 किलोमीटर से ज्यादा मेट्रो लाइन ऑपरेशनल है.
Talking about the various development projects running in western UP, the Prime Minister said the first rapid rail system is under construction from Delhi to Meerut, and many other development works, including Greenfield Airport, are going on in the western part of Uttar Pradesh.
देश का पहला रैपिड रेल ट्रांसपोर्ट सिस्टम मेरठ से दिल्ली के बीच बन रहा है. दिल्ली मेरठ के बीच 14 लेन का 14 लेन का एक्सप्रेस वे भी जल्द ही इस क्षेत्र के लोगों की सेवा देने लगेगा. पश्चिमी उत्तर प्रदेश के अनेक जिलों को जोड़ने वाले गंगा एक्सप्रेस वे को सरकार पहले ही स्वीकृति दे चुकी है. यही नहीं, यूपी में दर्जनों एयरपोर्ट्स को रीजनल कनेक्टिविटी के लिए तैयार किया जा रहा है.
He said the urban middle class of the country is getting many facilities from the government in terms of subsidy on home, health card, loans and other monetary help. The PM said that spending on connectivity and infrastructure is now the highest in the country, and steps are being taken to attract foreign investment in this sector. Speaking on the occasion, Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath has said this project will start a new era for the region.
इस मेट्रो कॉरपोरेशन के कार्य का शुभारंभ करने के साथ एक नए युग की ओर आगरा और आगरा से जुड़े हुए लोग जाएंगे। इस दृष्टि से क्योंकि आगरा में न केवल वर्तमान में 26 लाख की आबादी यहाँ पे निवास करती है, अपितु प्रतिवर्ष लाखों की संख्या में देशी विदेशी पर्यटक भी इस आगरा सिटी में आकर के पर्यटन की सुविधाओं का लाभ लेते हैं।
The Uttar Pradesh Metro Rail Corporation has set a deadline of 5 years for the completion of 2 corridors of Agra Metro, which will connect all the major tourist destinations of the city. The Agra Metro project will have 2 corridors with a total length of 29.4 kilometers and will cost around 8,379 crore rupees. MD of UPMRC Kumar Keshav told AIR that it will take around 3 years for the first metro train to run on the priority section between Taj Mahal to Jama Masjid. He said that initially the metro will be available at every 5.5 minutes and it will also help in decreasing the pollution level of the city. The Agra Metro project will benefit Agra's population of 26 lakh and also cater to more than 60 lakh tourists who visit the historic city every year.
The Special Cell of Delhi Police today apprehended 5 suspected terrorists from a city's Chakarpur area after an encounter. DCP Special Cell of Delhi Police Pramod Kushwaha briefing media informed that 2 of the 5 arrested men are from Punjab. The remaining 3 are from Kashmir. Mr. Kushwaha said that the arrest shows how ISI is trying to link Khalistan movement with terrorism in Kashmir. He said police has seized nearly 2 kilograms of heroin, arms and 1 lakh rupees in cash from the possession of the suspected terrorists.
आज सुबह एक स्पेसिफिक इन्फॉर्मेशन पे अर्ली मॉर्निंग में 5 लोगों को अप्रहेंड किया गया है। ये 5 लोगों में से 2 पंजाब बेस्ड हैं, 3 कश्मीर बेस्ड हैं और इनके पास से 3 पिस्टल्स, 2 किलो हेरोइन और 1 लाख रुपए कैश करीब मिला है। जो इम्पोर्टेंट चीज आई है सामने वो ये कि ये इनकी अरेस्ट बेसिकली एक लिंक है, कड़ी है, जो कि शो करती है कि किस तरह से ISI खालिस्तान मूवमेंट जो ये एक अलगाववाद फैलाना चाहते हैं उसको किस तरह से ये कश्मीर टेररिज्म से लिंक करवा रही है।
Delhi police has also said that the 3 Kashmiris who were arrested are the overground workers of Hizbul Mujahideen. They have a setup in Pakistan with their counterparts in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. DCP Kushwaha said that 2 of those arrested, Gurjeet Singh Bhura and Sukhdeep, are gangsters and have linkages to Pakistan-based ISI operatives. He said gangsters are being used to target killings, which is used for creating communal disharmony and demoralizing people who stand against terrorism. He also informed that these 2 were involved in the murder of Shaurya Chakra awardee Balwinder Singh Bhikiwind. Delhi police said that the arrest has exposed the drug trade module operated by the terrorists to fund their activities since the fake currency module has been busted after demonetization.
India crossed another significant milestone in its fight against COVID as the nation has registered less than 4 lakh active cases today after a span of 140 days. With a continuous reduction in the number of active corona cases, the active caseload in the country stands at merely 4.10% with nearly 3,96,000 active cases. The national cumulative recovery rate has also further improved to 94.45% with recovery of nearly 91,40,000 people so far. The number of daily recoveries once again outnumbered the new daily cases for the 10th consecutive day today. The total recovered cases in the country stand at around 23 times the number of active cases. The new daily positive cases also remained below the 50,000 mark for the 30th consecutive day today. In the last 24 hours, 32,981 new confirmed cases were reported, while 39,109 people recovered in the same time span. Over 8 lakh samples were tested for COVID in the country in the last 24 hours. With this, the cumulative testing figure has gone up to 14,77,87,656. The central government and ICMR have scaled up the testing infrastructure in a calibrated manner. India's testing capacity has touched 15 lakh per day, ensuring easily accessible COVID-19 tests for all. The Health Ministry has said that very high levels of testing has led to early identification, prompt isolation and effective treatment of COVID-19 cases. It said this also leads to cutting down deaths and saves many precious lives. Higher volumes of testing have also ensured lower daily positivity rate, which continues to remain at around 3.5%.
In view of COVID-19 pandemic, the administration of Pimpri-Chinchwad in Pune district of Maharashtra has decided to impose curfew in Alandi town and its environs to restrict mass gathering for Kartiki Wari celebrations. The curfew has been imposed for next 10 days till 16th of December so that the outbreak of coronavirus does not increase due to the crowding of devotees in Alandi for the Sanjeevan Samadhi of Sant Gyaneshwar and celebrations of Kartiki Wari. A report from our Mumbai correspondent.
Maharashtra is celebrating Utpatti Samarth Ekadashi on 10th December this year. Every year during the Hindu month of Kartik, devotees referred as Varkaris from all over Maharashtra assemble in Alandi to commence a spiritual journey to the Sant Gyaneshwar temple. The walk is covered by people of all ages in colorful and vibrant clothes carrying well-decorated paraphernalia of their saint. This year, due to the corona pandemic, only 20 Varkaris have been allowed, including 3 dindis coming from Pandharpur. Besides, order has been issued to Varkaris against crowding the Sanjeevan Samadhi ceremony. However, passes are being issued for certain dignitaries. Devapriya Bhattacharjee, AIR News, Mumbai.
For the past 1 week, the graph of active COVID-19 cases in Rajasthan is going down daily. State's active cases dropped to 22,427 yesterday. It was 28,758 cases on November 29, which remains the all-time high. More from our Jaipur correspondent.
In December, more number of persons recovered from COVID-19 in comparison to daily new cases. More than 12,000 persons have been found infected of the virus, while more than 18,000 have been recovered in last 6 days. The recovery rate in the current month is 147%. The number of new cases in Jaipur and Jodhpur has also been dropped in past few days. But the active cases in both cities are above 62% of the total active cases of the state. Jitendra Dwivedi, AIR News, Jaipur.
Telangana state reported 517 fresh COVID cases during the past 24 hours. With this, the total COVID cases reported in the state has gone up to 2,73,858. The state conducted over 33,000 tests yesterday. The recovery rate marginally improved to 96.62%, with 862 more people recovering yesterday. This took the number of recovered people so far in the state to 2,64,606.
In Bihar, 674 cold chain points are ready across the state for coronavirus vaccination. Health Minister Mangal Pandey said these can store 1.37 crore vials at a time, and we have to enhance their capacity by an additional 1 crore so that routine immunization does not get hampered. Mr. Pandey said COVID-19 vaccine is to be first given to over 5 lakh health workers of the state. He said there are nearly 3.52 lakh government health workers, including AMNs, who will take care of the vaccination process. Apart from them, nearly 4,000 private institutes have also been identified whose workers will assist in the vaccination program. The Serum Institute of India, SII, has applied for emergency approval of Made in India COVID vaccine candidate Covishield. SII CEO Adar Poonawalla has confirmed it and said it will save countless lives. He also thanked the Government of India and Prime Minister Narendra Modi for their invaluable support. SII, the world's largest vaccine producer by volume, had sought emergency use authorization in the country for AstraZeneca's COVID-19 vaccine candidate. The company applied to the Drugs Controller General of India citing unmet medical needs due to the pandemic and in the interest of the public at large. The move comes close on the heels of Pfizer Inc. applying for a similar authorization of its coronavirus vaccine in India.
Commerce, Industry and Ayush Ministry have decided to work together to set up an export promotion council to boost Ayush exports. This decision was taken at a review meeting of Ayush Trade and Industry by Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal and Ayush Minister Shripad Nayak. It was also decided that the entire Ayush sector will work together to achieve price and quality competitiveness to boost exports. The review meeting was held through video conference. You're listening to the Midday News on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Government's focus is on making small cities the axis of self-reliant India, says Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Launches construction work of Agra Metro project. Special cell of Delhi Police arrests 5 suspected terrorists from the city's Shakarpur area after an encounter. COVID-19 recovery rate improves to 94.45%. Polling for 4th phase of DDC elections in Jammu and Kashmir passes off peacefully. In Assam, voting is on for the first phase of Bodoland Territorial Council, and Armed Forces Flag Day is being celebrated across the country. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
To get accurate, reliable and wide coverage of news, tune into AIR News 24/7 and FM Gold and listen to the major bulletins at 8:30 AM, 2 PM and 8:30 PM in English and 8 AM, 2:30 PM and 8 PM in Hindi of half an hour each.
चलो मिलकर एक शुरुआत करें, चलो एक फैसला आज करें, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे, चलो एक इरादा करते हैं, चलो कुछ वादा करते हैं, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Midday News on All India Radio. In Jammu and Kashmir, polling was held peacefully in the 4th phase of District Development Council elections. It began at 7 in the morning and concluded at 2 p.m. Nearly 27% polling was recorded in the first 4 hours. According to election authorities, 17 DDC constituencies in Jammu division saw 37.88% voting and 17 constituencies in Kashmir division had 14.87% polling till 11 a.m. The 3 earlier phases of 8-phase electoral process recorded over 50% polling. The whole process thus far has been incident-free and peaceful. In Assam, voting is on for the first phase of Bodoland Territorial Council BTC polls in 21 states. 34% polling has been reported till 11:30 a.m. Senior BPF leader and Minister Rihon Daimari, UPPL President Pramod Boro, BJP leader and former MP Biswajit Daimari are among those who have exercised their franchise so far. Adequate security arrangements have been put in place to ensure peaceful polling. AIR correspondent reports nearly 14 lakh voters will decide the political fate of 130 candidates. Most of the seats are likely to witness a triangular or multi-corner fights. The second phase of polling will be held on the 10th of this month in 19 seats. Counting of votes will take place on the 12th of this month. More from our Guwahati correspondent.
The BTC election is being seen as a semi-final ahead of the next year's assembly polls to be held in Assam. The BJP and Bodoland People's Front, the alliance partners at Dispur, are fighting the BTC election separately. On the other hand, the Congress and AIUDF are contesting the election in alliance, giving a significant hint that both the parties may come together in assembly polls too. This phase of election has witnessed a high-profile campaign by all the major parties. Senior BJP leader and Chief Minister Sarvananda Sonowal, State BJP President Ranjit Kumar Das, Senior Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma, BPF Chief Hagrama Mohilari, along with Senior Minister Rihon Daimari and Promila Rani Brahma, UPPL President Pramod Boro, AIUDF Chief Badruddin Azmal, State Congress President Ripun Bora and MP Nava Sarania all tried to woo the voters. Manas Pratim Sharma, AIR News, Guwahati.
Armed Forces Flag Day is being celebrated today. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu has called upon everyone to collectively show their gratitude to the martyrs, disabled soldiers and their families by voluntarily contributing towards Armed Forces Flag Day Fund. In a tweet, Mr. Naidu said, "Our soldiers are the guardians of the nation and make many sacrifices to protect the citizens." He said, "Let us all salute and support our gallant soldiers for their valor and patriotism." Extending his greetings on the occasion of Armed Forces Flag Day today, Prime Minister Narendra Modi said that the day marks a special occasion to express gratitude to our armed forces and their families. He said India is proud of their heroic service and selfless sacrifice. Prime Minister urged everyone to contribute towards the welfare of our forces. He said this gesture will help many of our brave personnel and their families. Armed Forces Flag Day is observed every year on 7th of December since 1949 to honor the soldiers, sailors, airmen of our country. Citizens can contribute generously to the cause of supporting the valiant men in uniform defending our borders by visiting the website ksb.gov.in. Contributions to Armed Forces Flag Day Fund are exempted from income tax under Section 80G of the Income Tax Act 1961. Union Information and Broadcasting Minister Prakash Javadekar has also urged everyone to contribute to the Armed Forces Flag Day Fund for the welfare of the families of our martyrs and soldiers who bravely fight on our borders to protect the honor of the country.
Senior BJP leader Ravi Shankar Prasad has said that Congress and other non-BJP parties join any protest in the country just for the sake of opposing the government's moves. He said the actions of the opposition parties reflect their dire attempts to save their existence. Taking a dig at the Congress for opposing the new farm laws, Mr. Prasad said the Congress party had clearly mentioned about amending the farm laws in their 2019 election manifesto. He said protests just in order to score political mileage by the Congress, NCP, Samajwadi Party and other opposition parties expose their duplicity and double standards. Mr. Prasad said NCP leader Sharad Pawar advocated for amendment in farm laws in 2005 and is opposing the reforms today only to settle political scores. Farmers have welcomed the implementation of the new farm laws as it has resulted in raising their income and liberating them from the clutches of middlemen. Kamal Patel of Badhawa village in Devas district of Madhya Pradesh has said the new farm law has helped him sell his produce to private companies which gave a better price.
मैं कमल पटेल ग्राम बधावा तहसील सतवार जिला देवास मध्य प्रदेश। नए बिल आने के कारण अच्छी मदद मिली है, किसानों के लिए ये मददगार बिल है और इसके कारण दाम भी अच्छे ऊंचे मिल रहे हैं और अभी कुछ दिन पहले ही यहाँ ITC का हब खुला है।
Sandeep of Sherewala village in Abohar district of Punjab has said he has got a better price for Kinnaur this year as he sold it to the people of his choice.
मेरा नाम संदीप है, मैं शेरेवाड़े गांव का रहने वाला हूँ। मैंने अब की बार तीनों सीधे व्यापारी को दिया है, नया कानून बनने के बाद पहली बार, और मुझे पहले से अच्छे पैसे मिले हैं और मुझे किसी प्रकार की कोई कठिनाई नहीं हुई है और हमें किन्नू के पैसे पहले से बेहतर मिले हैं।
The interministerial team led by Union Home Ministry Joint Secretary Ashutosh Agnihotri visited Puducherry to evaluate the damages caused by the cyclone Nivar in Puducherry. More from our Puducherry correspondent.
The team visited Pattukannu, Ramanathapuram, Pudukuppam and many places in Puducherry and inspected the damages to the crops, paddy, sugarcane submergence, banana field damages and also the road damages. They visited Thengaithittu fishing harbour and assessed the damages to the boats. The team further discussed with the people in the affected areas also. Overall, they undertook an on-the-spot assessment of the situation in the wake of cyclone Nivar. The team met Chief Minister Narayanasamy, Chief Secretary Aswani Kumar and had a discussion. They were briefed about the loss of properties due to the cyclone. Meanwhile, Chief Minister Narayanasamy spoke to the reporters and said that he had returned to the Prime Minister Narendra Modi to grant the Union Territory an interim relief of 100 crore to restore normalcy. Chandramohan, Air News, Puducherry.
The News Services Division of All India Radio in its bilingual live phone-in program today will bring you a special discussion program on COVID-19. Dr. Ghanshyam Pankti, Professor of Medicine, Lady Hardinge Medical College, will participate in the discussion. Listeners can ask questions to the experts on toll-free telephone number 1800-115767. You can also ask questions on telephone number 011-2331-4444 and post queries on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts by hashtag AskAIR. This can be heard tonight on FM Gold channel and additional frequencies from 9:30 p.m. onwards. This program will also be available on our website newsonair.com and on our YouTube channel News on AIR Official. You can also follow us on News on AIR app for updates. The News Services Division brings glimpses of the year that was in our special series Year-Ender 2020. COVID-19 pandemic has been the biggest story of the year, and India has seen a valiant fight against the disease under the dynamic leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Speaking on the measures taken by the government, Corona Task Force head and Niti Aayog member Professor V.K. Paul said all measures were scientifically driven.
India imposed very critical and effective restrictions on the travel of people coming from the nations where the outbreak had already taken place and taken root. This was incrementally increased and intensified as the need arose. And this helped us in containing the disease in a very localized manner in the early phases of outbreak. The dividends of this we are reaping even today.
A group of ministers closely and regularly monitored the coronavirus cases. Home Ministry asked states and union territories to strictly enforce containment measures and allow only essential activities in the containment zones.
House-to-house surveillance and testings were carried out vigorously as per protocol. Central also asked states and UTs to take all necessary measures to promote COVID-19 appropriate behavior of face mask, hand hygiene and social distancing to avoid the situation of community transmission. AIIMS, Indian Council of Medical Research, National Institute of Virology, all states and union territories work together. All educational institutions, stadiums and sports clubs, restaurants, pubs were closed. State government set a cap on the number of guests allowed to attend a wedding function and also cremation. Over 4,450 Shramik special trains carried over 60 lakh migrant home. The Indian Railways has started running Shramik special train from May 1st to transport the stranded migrant workers, students, pilgrims and tourists across the country during the nationwide lockdown. While the country is marching towards normalcy, the steps taken by the government worked as a catalyst to prevent the spread of the virus. Saubhagyakar, AIR News, Delhi.
In the ongoing Kharif marketing season, government continues to procure Kharif crops at its minimum support price from farmers as per its existing MSP schemes. About 32.92 lakh paddy farmers have benefited from Kharif marketing season procurement operations with MSP value of over 63,563 crore rupees. The Agriculture Ministry said paddy procurement for the current Kharif season has progressed smoothly in Punjab, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, Telangana, Uttarakhand, Tamil Nadu, Chandigarh, Jammu and Kashmir, Kerala, Gujarat, Andhra Pradesh, Odisha, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra and Bihar. It said over 336 lakh metric tons of paddy have been procured against the last year corresponding purchase of around 280 lakh metric tons. In Bangladesh, Road Transport and Bridges Minister and ruling Awami League General Secretary Obaidul Qadir has warned that those who vandalize the under-construction sculpture of Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujib in Kushtia will face severe legal punishment. The U.S. Special Representative for Afghanistan Reconciliation Zalmai Khalilzad held a meeting with Taliban's Deputy Leader Mullah Baradar and Chief Negotiator Abdul Hakim on Saturday. As per reports, they discussed the future U.S.-Taliban peace process and release of the remaining prisoners.
The third and final 2020 match between India and Australia will be played tomorrow in Sydney. The men in blue have already clinched the series 2-0.
Now let us take a look at the weather forecast for today. The national capital experienced mist. Temperature will vary between 14 and 26 degrees Celsius. Mumbai will have a mainly clear sky. Temperature will vary between 16 and 30 degrees. Chennai will have a generally cloudy sky with moderate rain. Kolkata experienced fog and mist in the morning and will have a mainly clear sky later. Srinagar will have a generally cloudy sky with light rain. Temperature will hover between 5 degrees and 8 degrees. In Jammu, minimum temperature was 12 degrees while maximum will be 21 degrees. Leh will have a generally cloudy sky with light rain. Minimum temperature was minus 3 degrees Celsius while maximum will be 3 degrees. Gilgit will also have a generally cloudy sky with light rain with temperature hovering between 1 degree and 14 degrees. Muzaffarabad will have a generally cloudy sky with light rain. Now before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Government's focus is on making small cities the axis of self-reliant India, says Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Launches construction work of Agra Metro project. Special cell of Delhi police arrests 5 suspected terrorists from the city's Shakarpur area after an encounter. COVID-19 recovery rate improves to 94.45%. Polling for 4th phase of DDC elections in Jammu and Kashmir passes off peacefully. In Assam, voting is on for the first phase of Bodoland Territorial Council. And Armed Forces Flag Day is being celebrated across the country. And with that, we end the midday news.